Carolina. And our buddy RC loved that. He said Javonte can ball, just keep setting it up for Aaron. Denver looking good. So obviously, RC, you were thinking the same way that Bill and a lot of other people were thinking. Let me quickly go to our GM first, though. Mike Tannenbaum, as you look at that trade, does it make sense?
It really does. It really kind of fits the bill for both sides, and here's why. I think Denver becomes a Super Bowl contender the moment that trade is made. And if you're Green Bay, you may have a young quarterback in Drew Lock, let him compete with Jordan Love, and then you have multiple first-round picks in the future. I do think Denver made a mistake in the draft, and here's why, Greeny. They should have taken that Chicago Bear trade, which was going from 20. They could have gone up to 9. Chicago would have gotten Justin Fields. Denver could have gone back to 20 and gotten either Greg Newsome from Northwestern or Caleb Farley, both really good corners, and a 1 and a 4 next year. They could have used that additionally to take Bill Barnwell's idea and build on it and given even more first-round picks to Green Bay to enhance the offer. So, and then ironically, Green Bay would have Chicago's first-round pick. So I think this is a good foundation, and this could be something that could actually get done.
All right, so RC, just take this deal, basically, and you wouldn't be taking a whole lot off of Denver's roster that they would require. Obviously, Drew Lock becomes irrelevant if you have Aaron Rodgers, and they've already traded for Teddy Bridgewater. So if you put Aaron Rodgers on the Denver Broncos right now, do they become the biggest threat to Kansas City in the AFC immediately?
You know what? I believe they do. And no, this doesn't mean that the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, the Buffalo Bills aren't involved. But when you look at the quarterbacks, even when we watch the Buffalo Bills play the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship, you can see the difference in quarterbacks. You can see the difference in the way that they move teams. Aaron Rodgers immediately puts you on a level where you feel like going into a game against Patrick Mahomes, we might have the best quarterback today or any day of the week. And now you're thinking Cortland Sutton, you have Jerry Jeudy, obviously Hamler on the outside, Javonte Williams in the backfield, Noah Fant at tight end, and you have a defense that's getting better. Von Miller is healthy. If Eric Stokes is now the new safety, the new cornerback opposite Kyle Fuller, and obviously Justice Simmons, who is re-signed for 4 years. I believe if you put Aaron Rodgers on this team is built to win right now. And Aaron Rodgers is the type of player that gives other people on the team the confidence that a Tom Brady brought to Tampa Bay. And so if you're the Denver Broncos, you have to keep calling that phone. You have to keep texting, keep getting in Brian Gutekunst's DMs and saying, look, let's make this play. Let's make this move. Aaron does not want to play for you. Get something for him, and let's move on.
And so, Jeff, I feel like Denver is the team that we keep hearing about publicly the most. The people you talk to inside the league, is the sense you get that right now the favorite to land Aaron Rodgers is Denver?
Yeah, I would say that, and it's not based on, like you've said, the conversations between Denver and the Packers, which we're unaware of at this point. It's instead the fact that, like, the draft, for instance, maybe remedied a lot of quarterback situations across the league. Like, I would say Chicago, for instance, would be a team, despite being a bitter rival of the Packers, and how we could fathom that as something. But they got Justin Fields, so that settles that. Like, the Miami Dolphins feel like they're all in now with Tua to find out what he's got this following year. Could that change? Perhaps. Like, there's dynamics and landscapes that could change, but right now it feels like the Denver Broncos are still the team that is championship caliber in need of a quarterback.
Say Shailene Woodley, I believe it lives in Boulder, Colorado.
He will make him change his haircut. That's how bad he wants Aaron Rodgers. Listen, and I'm not mad at him. And if you're the Green Bay Packers, I know Mike T is saying maybe he doesn't like that job or he doesn't like that trade or Aaron Rodgers won't like that trade. If I'm the Green Bay Packers, I like it, right? I get Derek Carr, who I believe is a better quarterback than Drew Lock. And Aaron probably won't win as many games because he's going to get killed behind that offensive line. And so that is a real thing what Mike T is talking about with Aaron Rodgers having a seat at the table. You have to look at the team, not just the fact that the head coach likes you or loves you, but you have to look at the team and say, can I win? Aaron Rodgers is at a point in his career, still an MVP, but he's on the downside, right? He's closer to the end than the beginning, and he wants a Super Bowl. That's why the Denver Broncos trade makes more sense for Aaron Rodgers, if not the Green Bay Packers.
And super quickly, Jeff, just what for the people you do talk to, what are people around the league saying about the likeliest destinations, be it Denver, Vegas, or anywhere else?
Well, again, I think Denver certainly feels like the likely one. But you talked about John Gruden. Like, is there the two most elitist offensive minds where they're like judging somebody if they can't recite a 45-second play? Are Aaron Rodgers and John Gruden? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe that's a match made in heaven because they could finally speak one another's language.
I think it would be great. And again, all these trades sending quarterbacks back to Green Bay. If Jordan Love isn't their quarterback of the future, and he running back, they took Najee Harris out of Alabama, the most productive back of all of those that have been there since Nick Saban became their coach. 2 picks later, the Cleveland Browns took cornerback Greg Newsome out of Northwestern, so addressing that defensive secondary. Their roster looking loaded at this point. And then immediately after that, the Ravens took Rashad Bateman, 27th overall, wide receiver out of Minnesota, who was big and fast and might just be the player to help shift around the dynamics of that offense. And so right now, as we take a look at our friends at Caesars Sportsbook, they see Baltimore as the favorite in the division, with Baker Mayfield and company not far behind at all, and the Steelers just behind that. And so the reason I wanted to bring this up as I bring the crew back in here is, we're kind of done now. It's funny how these things, it feels as though we have forever, and then it sneaks up on us. We had the free agency. Now we had the NFL draft. So there's a little bit of wheeling and dealing left to come. But by and large, these are the teams we're going into next season with. So as of right now, Jeff Darlington, I'll start with you. Who's the best team in the AFC North?
I believe the Steelers. I'm surprised to see plus 400 there for the Steelers. I really just think that they got much better in the draft with Najee Harris and adding a couple offensive linemen. I think this is a championship caliber defense, even after losing Bud Dupree. Like, I'm higher on the Steelers right now than I certainly was last year. I know the Browns are what they are, but I'm saying Steelers here. I think the Steelers win this division.
It's interesting. A team that was 11-0 at one point and has since been left for dead by most people, but not by Jeff Darlington. Mike T., how about you?
This is a two-man race between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. And on the last drive of the last game of the season in overtime, Lamar Jackson scores and gives the division to Baltimore. And here's why. Eric DeCosta did a great job in the offseason. He attacked the 32nd ranked offense in terms of passing yards, and they signed Sammy Watkins and then drafted Tylan Wallace and Rashad Bateman. I love when you turn a weakness. It doesn't even have to be a strength green, just be average, and this is going to be Baltimore's division.
Yeah, you heard him mention Tylan Wallace, who was a wide receiver with a lot of potential out of Oklahoma State, who they drafted later in the draft to go along with Rashad Bateman, who we mentioned. RC, why were you laughing?
Because I just love the fact that Tannenbaum, like the GM focal point for Tannenbaum always gives him like these great answers. And then you got Jeff, who started off and he said he was higher on the Steelers than other people. I mean, as Jeff Saturday would certainly say, he's certainly high if he thinks that the Steelers are going to win, because this is for the Cleveland Browns. Listen, when you look at what the Cleveland Browns have done throughout this offseason, you talk about a team taking a weakness and not making it average, but making it really good. John Johnson, Troy Hill, you draft Greg Newsome, you bring in Jadeveon Clowney, you get Owusu Kamara, who should have been a first-round draft pick, but he had a heart condition. If he's healthy and if he can play, you've now added one of those pieces that now you can be in a base defense against sub packages or against 11 personnel offensively. The Cleveland Browns are the best team in this division. They have a quarterback that's on the rise. You get Odell Beckham Jr. back, and Kevin Stefanski is a star at the coaching position. And so, do I want to say the Steelers are the team? Absolutely. I love to sit here and lie with you and chill with Jeff Darlington and now be a darling in Pittsburgh. But it's going to be the Brownies that finally really go to the Super Bowl. And we're not talking about just after eating Mexican food.
Why? Well, go ahead, Jeff. I'll give you a minute. Go.
No, I'll believe it when I see it. I'm sick of the whole Browns thing. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm more willing to give the Steelers the benefit of the doubt than the Cleveland Browns. You can call me lazy in that take. That's fine. I'll believe it when I see it.
All right. I will take it a step further than RC did. You can put the Browns helmet under my face, or under my name, I should say, and I'll say this. There is every reason to believe the Browns should be better this year than they were a year ago. So I'll take it this step farther. I believe the Browns are the single biggest threat to Kansas City in the AFC going into this season. And that's inclusive of Buffalo and absolutely everybody else. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. What do you think, RC?
Hey, I'm with you.